And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Alright, today we're talking about skyscrapers. Now that is a theme that I like. There's not a whole lot of games about skyscrapers. There is Manhattan, but this one has the option, you're building skyscrapers in this sucker. Now that's a game that I think that sounds interesting, and it has really neat components in this game. I mean, you have these cardboard pieces, and you are attaching them together with plastic things like this. You can punch a plastic piece between the card and then put them together, and you're going to be able to put these together in a variety of ways and actually build buildings. Well, how cool is that? Let's see how cool that is. So here's the board. Now there's this top spinning part, a round robin that fits on the bottom part with a little metal pin, which I've chosen not to put in because of the huge annoyance it is. Not to mention, when as soon as you fold the board, the pin immediately falls out and then takes a while to put back in again. Then you put these three pieces like this onto the board where they do not fit, but you put them there anyway because that's what the instructions tell you to do. So, marks off for both of those things in production quality. Now, I will say the board looks cool. It really does. I like the construction side. I like the cars around the outside. This is essentially just a scoring track for players where they will score and move their scoring pieces around depending on how many points they get, or as you can see, points that they lose. Players are going to have a whole handful of tiles, and these tiles are going to have different crossbars all across them. Some of those crossbars have people on them, and they also have some in their color so that you get a very specific ones on your side. But if it has a person on it, then it shows you what orientation the card must be. This card can't be placed flat, it can't be placed like this, it simply can be placed up and down like this. While a card with no person on can be placed anywhere you want. Now, cards are attached together basically by putting a piece, one of these plastic pieces, through them like this, and having another piece connected like this. And so slowly over time, you're going to be attaching different pieces to the cards that are in play. And if that was the whole game, that would be a very simple game of how to play this game. But the problem that this game has is that it adds a whole bunch of complicated rules to this game. What you have to do is you have these workers who will start on the ground floor, and they have to be basically touching a wall, and then you're going to use those points to move workers up throughout the building, while you can have workers covered up and then they can't move any farther. But workers need to move up to the upper levels to get points so that you can put more structures on the higher levels to get more points. If you ever cause the tower to collapse, you lose points. If you ever knock people down, you're going to lose points. And if you look at this rule book here, there is page after page here with diagram after diagram of how you can properly put these pieces together, and many different ways of how not to put the pieces together. So instead of it being a dexterity game where you say, oh, I'll put this piece here, you say, okay, I'll put this there. Someone says, I'm sorry, you can't do that because this beam isn't connecting to anything, or this beam has to be like this, or you can't leave a half level like this, or there's all these different rules. But eventually you will build, hopefully, an impressive structure. And when the game is over, when all the tiles have been put out, whoever has the highest visible workers in the building is going to get extra victory points, and then whoever has the highest score on the track is going to win. Now, you could destroy the whole building. If you do, then the game is over, and whoever has the highest score at that time is the winner. And I would think that that's likely to happen, just because while the building itself is very sound when you put these on, putting them on is a pain in and of itself as you put these pieces through and then say, okay, how am I going to attach this to the building so far? Especially since it doesn't have a firm foundation. But the components are high quality, and that's essentially how the game works in a nutshell. Well, as you can see, not quite as cool as I thought. I really wanted to like this game. I did. And it's not that it's a horrible game, it's just that it doesn't really know where it wants to be. See, a straight-up dexterity game is fun. Just say build these, different rules on how to build them. But all these rules, it's making this dexterity game into some kind of Euro game building, and you can place this here and here. Now, in real life, that may be important to know. You can build this girder here, but you need to put these here. And, it's important knowledge. But I want to have fun, and I don't want to have fun by saying, how can I place this tile? How can I place this one? I really don't know how to place these. And you're sitting there with this whole spread of tiles, looking at them for the longest time. Then you say, okay, I'll place this one here. You put it there. You might move your worker a few spots. And then someone else goes, and it's this really slow, dull game. I really thought it would be much more interesting, and unfortunately it's not. Great components. Fantastic. Except for that stupid metal piece in the middle of the board. But really neat, and it looks visually appealing. And I think there's some people who are going to enjoy playing this. They're going to like putting the buildings together and seeing how it works and following the exact instructions. But it's too heavy to be a light dexterity game, and it's too heavy, I mean, it's too dexterity challenge to be that much of a heavy thinking game. I don't know. It's kind of a mix of different genres, which probably is best not to. And I really liked it, but this is a skyscraper that it seems to be unfinished.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Yeah?